let's welcome everybody to episode 0 of Detroit.
Oh, yeah, this is episode 0 of Detroit.
You thought this was a podcast.
There may be episode 0.1 or 0.2.
And you were right.
Well, 0.0 was at too many games, but this is 0.1, yeah.
But besides being a podcast, this is also episode 0 of Detroit
of our full LP.
Become Human.
This is the fact that everyone jumped on this is my favorite thing.
And the reason why it starts now, ladies and gentlemen.
Why is that?
Is because David Cage has decided it starts now. He's given us material before the game even comes out.
This is long before we're going to do our sealed envelope podcast or video in which we try and predict the entire game's events.
This is long before we have our bingo cards laid out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This is simply reading what the
Direct
fuck
quotes
is coming out of this guy's mouth.
Yes.
So let's start off with David Cage doing an interview and Polygon writing this. Actually, I saw this in the form of tweets before Polygon caught on to this. Yeah. I saw someone tweet out the screenshots
different quotes
side by side.
So it's something like around E3 just gave out a bunch of interviews, and the main thing
Sat
was...
down, did the basic pressers.
Now, I want to point out, even before this, pre-episode 0, I remember we talked about it on the podcast in which David Cage talked about how this may be a story about androids, you know, kind of like Blade Runner, but unlike Blade Runner, it's the humans that are evil, and it's about and everyone in the world's response was, "Did you fucking watch Blade Runner?"
Maybe he watched one of those weird cuts that frames it in a different way.
Right? So that was the very first moment that, wait, what? And here we are now.
So, let's take it from the top then. Basically, after sitting down with... Well, who was this first interview with?
Polygon.
This first interview was with Polygon. He basically implied, he said this: "We put out a lot of passion and we're honest and sincere, but it's nothing compared to the real issues of real people in the real world. We try to be aware of that and we want to be respectful of real things. It's important to leave tired tropes of video games behind," Cage used to argue.
It's very important.
"There should be more people trying this. Don't write about being a rookie soldier in World War II because you don't have a clue what that's like."
All right, now, right before you even continue, Medal of Honor, when those games became popular, they brought in all the same vets and shit that they brought, like Captain Dale, Dale, that they would then later use as consultants for what's it called? Saving Private Ryan and Band of Brothers and all that. You know, people who were in World War II.
Yeah.
And they said, hey, what was it like to be in World War II? Because we want to help people understand that.
How about
and even
that?
for the generic PS1 shooter.
Yeah.
Right? So that may be the most nonsensical view from the premise of, like, all art, all works of fiction. Don't write about it unless you've personally experienced it, because you could never know. Well, what if I talk to people that it happened to, David?
You'll never really know. Wait. Like, right before you, like, on the tail end of that, when you said that he watched Blade Runner and everyone asked, did you watch actually Blade Runner? This is like, do you know how games are developed? Like, do you actually know?
Are you saying
Do you understand?
Are you saying that every military film of all time was developed in a vacuum without any input from anyone in the military or era or conflict or
Hey, man.
crazy thing to say?
Hey, man.
This is,
David's just trying to ask you a simple question.
All right.
All right?
Okay.
He just wants to ask you to make games where you talk about your life, your emotions, the people around you, what you like and what you hate. Mm-hmm. This is how the industry makes a huge step forward.
right.
I'm fed up with Space Marines.
Now, I'm going to... And the article goes on to point out what just popped into my head. Oh, so you have experience being an enslaved android then, David.
Perhaps you have experience being a cyborg AI vampire demon man.
Read the line right after that, because the article...
Detroit is a game about, and let me check my notes here, androids? That's deeper than Space Marines, right? but the story is definitely about androids, and
David,
that's it.
Which
David,
everyone has experience.
Do you have
being-
experience being forced to murder somebody at random due to a mystical power?
All right, Gear 2. We're moving up a little faster.
All right,
now.
let's go.
Not
The
even
story
main
I'm
subject.
telling is really about androids, Cage told Kotaku at this year's E3. They're discovering emotions and wanting to be free. If people want to see the parallels with this or that, that's fine with me. But my story is about androids who want to be free.
That's a really good statement,
When we saw,
actually.
I think it might have been in the podcast or it might have been when the fucking game got announced. I remember going, and the point that I said, it's like android fiction. All android fiction is a slavery metaphor. It is a one-to-one theme.
Because it's the only thing it could be.
It is what it is. And it is supposed to be slavery with a completely non-human form of life, but it looks human, so it makes you feel confused, right? And I remember thinking, I don't think David Cage has the writing chops to tackle
Why?
a fucking thing like non-human slavery. I don't think that's a fucking topic. It's a pretty delicate topic that needs some nuance.
But it's a PR. But it's a PR statement. That's an answer to a question that I'm like, fine. That's if when he says if you want to create your own parallels, you can. There's something to be said about just putting that out there and letting people do it. Right? And if that was the end of the story, there'd be not that much to say.
There'd be not that much to
Unfortunately,
say.
There's much big more to
So
the
let's
story.
gear up to the next one.
Gear 3, shall we? But it's an interesting question we wanted to ask the player in this scene. What do you think is right to do when you fight for your rights? I didn't want to provide an answer. This is something that's so important to me. I didn't want to deliver a message to mankind with this game. I just want to ask questions. That's fine. Just ask questions.
I disagree entirely. I think the idea that a creative force behind a writing project saying I have no message with my work is the saddest thing in the world. I think that is depressing. The idea that you would write an album or write a fucking comedy bit or you'd write a fucking TV show or a story and go, my work has no value. My work has no message to impart in the world.
Have you not seen Transformers films?
If you decide to tackle a topic where you say, I don't have the answers,
That's fine.
I respect that.
I just want to poke at you in certain ways that makes you think and makes you.
But that's what
that's
statement-
a message, David. That you
Okay. Story I'm really telling is about androids. I didn't want to just deliver the message to mankind with this game. I just want to ask questions. Great.
All right. Now
That's
let's
still consistent with his previous
let's
statement.
gear up to Gear 4.
People will see it as, oh, this is about androids and the revolution. And I honestly don't think this is the story I wrote, Cage told The Verge. This is a game about us, humans. It's about what it means to be human. It's about identity. It's about civil
But
rights.
I thought you weren't saying anything with your message, and I thought it wasn't. You were just asking.
It's very inconsistent.
Gear 5. There's
Oh,
no
shit.
big message to humanity in this game, Cage also told The Verge. The same people he was interviewed where he said
previous.
it's just interesting questions that may resonate with your own personal values and just confront you with the consequences of your actions. What the fuck is this game about?
I don't particularly care for Polygon, but the giant bullet point underneath that summary is exactly how I feel. There's no such thing as neutrality. You can't tell people that your game has a big message about something like civil rights or slavery
And then just-
or revolution or sentience or freedom and then go, but it's just it's not important. It's like Blade Runner, but the people are evil.
Listen, now that we're in Top Gear, okay?
Yeah.
Matt,
Don't drive that car too
Yes.
fast.
does this remind you of anything in your past? Because it should.
About my past.
Because we both have this shared experience. And that's this. When someone sits down and describes their art in contradictory statements right behind each other,
Yeah.
where literally within the same breath you say something that goes against what you just defined
said,
your thing
yeah.
as, that's sitting in your fucking fine arts class bullshitting away the explanation
Yeah,
for what you
okay.
made
Yeah.
when you have no answers. And that's where the fine arts teachers, different from the illustration ones,
Very different.
rate you based on your bullshit as opposed to the work you've actually
Can you
created.
convince me that the shit that you slap together means anything?
It is the
Can you fool me?
It's the equivalent of wine tasting snobs, even though wine tasting has been shown to be absolute nonsense. It's the equivalent of that guy, that art critic who had a meltdown and wrote this massive article about how all art criticism is completely made up, smelling your own farts nonsense. He is literally just sitting down and changing what he wants to say based on what he thinks the interviewer he's talking to will
hear.
like.
If you've ever seen Ghost World, right, there's exactly that. There's the girl that puts bullshit up, explains it away, and gets top marks.
Now, that's not to say, like, there's certainly game projects like That Dragon Cancer, or even the game we looked at, Emporium, that someone definitely made because they had something to say, and it's based on, like, a personal very thing. I think David Cage has had no things like this, and certainly, if he's trying to say anything about them, this is video games is not the avenue he should be choosing to do them in.
Not in the way that he makes them.
So, wait, hold on, Pat. The first message he said, it was like consistent with what he was starting to say, right? The second one, very confusing. And the third one, in direct comparison to the others.
Like,
made
he's
no
getting
sense.
farther away and less consistent every time he talks.
Every time he does an interview, like, he doesn't know what the last time he said. It's like, it doesn't make any sense.
It's a godlike combo of wrongness.
It's just like,
I have never seen anything like
David
it.
Cage is given a different reason. They're all androids.
They're all androids. No, but like... It's like the combination, and the weirdest part is, like, Cage has not flinched away from, like, saying my games mean something, and he has shit on other people in the industry for saying that their games mean nothing, and that he's so tired.
Saying Space Joe, I'm tired of Space
so tired
Marines
of fucking
dismissive. That says you cannot tell a meaningful
and then
story.
he'll turn around and saying, I'm not saying anything important. And I would call his game, or I would call Detroit like a drama. If it was a television show, it'd be a drama, right?
It's like Mr. Robot.
My drama means nothing.
Yeah.
But, like...
We're looking at crouching light kick into down circle, quarter circle, forward androids.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's his opener. And then his linker is canceling into it's not androids, it's about humans.
Yeah.
And then his ender where he cashes it out is it's not about humans. There's no message to humanity at all. It is unbelievable how fucking, like, from the game is not even being out yet. We are in day minus what?
50? 60?
We are months away.
It doesn't have a day. It's true.
And the train wreck implies that it was on the rails at some point.
You know what's also...
What do you call it if the train starts
my favorite part
on the ground?
My favorite part about this is
Sideways.
is I saw people interspersing these quotes with footage from the trailer, and it's like, it's not about androids or civil rights, and you see footage from the first trailer where people are walking by the android slave auction, and the text is hard work for her, easy day for you, and then the trailer that came out alongside this is the violent android revolution, which in the interviews last year he said was just gonna straight up not be in the game at all.
So remember we were watching the E3 stuff for Sony's thing, and they showed the trailer for this, and I think I said, how come this is the opposite of what I thought this game was? Last year, there was a trailer about a human detective, and he had to make a choice, and there was a hostage.
That was an android, actually.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know anymore. So, and then the one before that, the first one was like the weird Jennifer Lawrence girl, where it seemed like it was about protecting this one plot critical fucking android, and I thought it was all about that, and we all thought, oh, this is another fucking jerk off on this actress that I hired, like Ellen Page was in Beyond whatever the fuck now. I don't. What's it called?
Beyond Two Souls.
Whatever. I don't know why I asked for an answer and then got dismissive with it. But, this game has, make no mistake, has changed tact at least twice since it's been announced, I feel.
Go ahead.
So this is a complaint we've had with David for ages.
That's what I was about to say.
And-
it's the same problem. Nothing about this is different. All we've heard is he's got more people reining him in. He's got more money. So there's bigger people to stop him from going all over the place.
I want to go through this because in Indigo Prophecy, everything leading up to the game was ace. And that demo was amazing.
Demo sold us
and
on
the
it.
first third of that game is great. Great. Before you understand that the weird bug aliens that attack you in your office are nonsense and you think that it's actually going to go somewhere, it's great.
Before Business Bug asks you to work late.
And then at the 51% mark in Indigo Prophecy, and I remember because me and Wooly hit it about the same point, and the save game in that game actually just straight up tells you the percentage completion. That game just falls apart and becomes about nothing, right? It becomes
It's a
about
Seinfeld of video games.
It becomes a mess of topics that he wants to do it all.
It becomes every foreign evil entity that I'm not familiar with is scary and needs to be in my game.
And so that was that. And then Heavy Rain comes out, and immediately it's really, really clear that Heavy Rain is more focused. It has writing problems, obviously.
Yeah.
But it is a focus thing, and it is about a thing.
Yeah.
And it is about how much your parents love you. That is what that game is about.
I suppose
right?
so.
And what you're willing to do for your children, right? And now it turns out that one of the reasons why it is so focused is that large parts of the game were removed right before release.
Right.
Because they were confusing nonsense.
Right.
So for Heavy... And then it was after the game came out that him talking about Heavy Rain was confusing. Right? It wasn't beforehand. Beforehand, it actually all kind of made sense. But afterwards, and he talks about how they cut the fucking supernatural shit, and he talks about themes that you're like, that wasn't there. What are you talking about? Right? And then we get to Beyond Two Souls. And Beyond Two Souls, even from the trailers, looked like a bunch of nonsense.
Oh, yeah.
You saw footage from the fucking African warlord mission. You saw footage in the Chinese underwater base.
The native desert.
You saw all this
demons.
shit, and you were confused, right? You were confused, and he talked about how it's about the soul and all this metaphysical shit, and you were weird. And then you played it, and the game is out of order, and it's even more confusing. But it was from the trailer to the trailer, but mostly when you started to play it that you were confused. We are now months out. And I am already as confused about this game as we were when we did the Mexico sequence in Beyond Two Souls.
The underwater Chinese ghost
Right?
base,
I am
almost.
yeah. I can't even pin down what the basic thrust of the game is about anymore. Fucking Detroit.
Okay. Well, that's because whatever you are about to say you think it might be, he just said it's not.
Will change.
Every time the game has been shown off, it couldn't have been a different game. When I think about Omicron, it's a time soul traveling guy who's trying to solve a mystery against demons. When I think about Heavy Rain, I think of this and this. I'm lost.
Well, Pat,
I don't know who
the
character is.
Who do you control?
Sounds to me like you're gonna have to face dilemmas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It is like his confusion matrix grows stronger by the day.
This happened very briefly.
Very briefly. It's not really worth
this happened really quickly around the exact
time
same
moves fast
time.
in Twitter.
They fucking, on the official Detroit Become Human Twitter, for some reason, thought it would be a good idea to just dick wave and taunt Xbox owners. And they put out a tweet that said, when you wake up and hashtag Detroit Become Human is still a PS4 exclusive, and you're still an at Xbox owner, Thursday thoughts.
The fact that they tweeted at Xbox to say, hey, fuck you.
And then they put a GIF that says, a screenshot from the trailer, face dilemmas.
Well, I saw that and thought, like, that makes me want to buy an Xbox. I don't think that's... Because then I'll have a console that can't play this game, and that makes me
physically can't.
Have you ever seen an official Twitter, not a character or a mascot, just being like, "Hey console, fuck you, man."
This tweet deleted like minutes after it went up. Unfortunately,
I usually love that shit. I love the fucking thumb in the eye.
Sega does what Nintendo.
I love that shit. But the it coming from it's you're standing at the club and a girl passes you by and you turn around and yell, "Oh, you gonna get with that guy, not me, Mr. Shit in his pants?"
Yeah. The problem with this is that if things were swapped out and it was Horizon, it would still be shitty because it's not like a funny Sony thing leading up to an E3 where they did, hey, game sharing, blah, blah. It's not even funny. It's not even clever. It's just like fucking school ground.
It's also
not even that.
It's not also
kids
not
are
effective.
Stupid and funny.
Telling a kid that they can't play something and that they suck because of it makes them dislike you. It doesn't make them go, "Ooh, I want to get the thing." It makes them go, but also, think about it. This kind of mentality, this kind of that's schoolyard shit, right?
Yep.
And I like it because it's schoolyard shit. And it's petty
Console
stuff.
wars with a Z.
But your game is not schoolyard shit. Your game is supposed to be an adult, interactive, fictional drama for smart people. That's what, that's not what it is, but that's what it's supposed to be.
That's the demo.
It's
amazing.
Why do you keep just blowing up his face larger and larger?
Why not?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So I felt really. So here's the real tragedy. We announced that we would do a sealed envelope style thing for and get the bingo cards ready for Detroit Become Human ages ago, like right when the game got announced. I think.
Because it's locked in.
Right when they announced new Best Friends LP live on stage.
I remember thinking in my heart, like, okay, Indigo Prophecy, that was impossible. Heavy Rain felt strongly could have done it. Like Detroit Become, Beyond Two Souls. Like we threw out some stupid guesses in that LP that came true.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember the one that gets me is like, what if a giant evil velociraptor attacked you, and then the god demon of Mexico looks like a giant evil velociraptor?
Yeah.
That's the one that's the dumbest.
Yeah.
It looks
right?
like Riptor.
And I was like, I feel confident that we can crush this. I feel very unconfident now.
Because you don't even know
if he doesn't even know what his game is,
then who would?
How are we supposed to guess what his game is?
Because we know the mind of the shit tier director.
We know him better than he knows himself.
We know him so much better than he knows himself. I believe we can vanquish it. I think we can. I think we can absolutely predict.
Well, the
it.
ultimate is that if we get like 30% or more of the game on point, like we can. And yes, I am lowballing it. 30% or more. That's the ultimate proof. Like you are such a hack that even when you say nothing, people can see through you and see what you're actually going to do.
I believe it. I have faith. Beyond Two Souls. I mean,
Detroit.
We might have almost spent like at least 20 minutes. That's a full episode.
that's episode 0.
It's episode 0.
Can you cut this out and just put it on the
Absolutely.
thing? Yeah,
How
all right.
about that for a slice of fried gold?
Depending on when or what happens between now and then, there might be a 0.1.
There might be.
Oh boy! All right.
I never thought that I would have as much to talk about.
Based on like a couple
nothing.
interview snippets.
Like it's absolutely nuts.
Welcome in Detroit.
Thank you for the Cage Zone.